The rain had teeth that night, sharp, relentless, drumming on the roof of a forgotten cabin in the woods where silence was supposed to live. Wind tore through trees like some ancient predator trying to claw its way in, but inside, the world was still. A man sat alone, older than his years, wrapped in solitude like it was armor. The fire crackled, casting long shadows across the wooden walls. His name no longer mattered. Whatever it had been, he had buried it along with too many faces. War had taught him that names were soft things, and soft things broke. Then came the sound that didn't belong. 3 knocks. Slow, deliberate, not the wind, not the forest. Something else, something alive. He stood, not fast, not startled, just ready. He always was. His hand found the cold steel of the rifle leaning beside his chair, the kind of comfort only those who have seen too much blood could understand. He moved toward the door, heart steady, mind quiet. Then the knock came again, weaker this time, like even the storm was losing interest. He opened the door, and there she was, a girl or something that looked like one, drenched, barefoot, trembling. Her hair clung to her face, black and heavy with rain. Her eyes, though, those weren't human, not quite, too wide, too bright. They carried a kind of light that didn't belong to anything natural. Her skin was pale, like ash that had forgotten fire. She didn't speak, she collapsed, and he caught her, even as her body folded into his arms like a question without an answer. He knew. This wasn't normal, this wasn't right. Her skin was cold, but not dead. Her blood blue, not a metaphor, not poetic, literally blue. And yet, something in him refused to let go. The kind of instinct they trained out of soldiers because it got people killed. He carried her inside, laid her by the fire, wrapped her in the last blanket he owned that didn't smell like the past. She wasn't just injured, she was unraveling. A tear along her side revealed more than flesh. Metal, wires, lines that glowed under the skin like circuits pretending to be veins. She wasn't human, but she wasn't just machine either. Something else, a question science hadn't asked out loud yet. And still, he stayed. He could have left her there, walked out, let time or nature or her own failing systems finish the job. But he didn't, because he remembered what it felt like to hold someone dying in your arms and no. One was coming. Not again, he thought. Not even if she was built instead of born. He treated her wounds the way a man does when he knows too much about pain. And as the storm howled like a wounded god outside, the fire kept burning. He waited, and then she spoke. Her voice was a whisper, wrapped in static, barely there, like a memory trying to speak. Her eyes opened slow, like someone pulling themselves back from the edge of deletion. They glowed again, for just a second, bright and haunted. She looked at him, not with fear, but with recognition. And the first thing she said wasn't her name. It was a warning. You're not with them. Not a question. A fact. Spoken like someone who knew what monsters looked like because she had been sent by them once. She tried to sit, but her body betrayed her. She trembled, weak but alive. They'll come, she added. They always come. He didn't answer. He just held her gaze, the kind that had stared down death too many times to blink now. And then, like it cost her everything, she reached out. Her hand, delicate, glistening with silver blue residue, closed around his. Please, she said, don't let them take me. It wasn't the words that moved him. It was what sat behind them. Not fear of pain, not fear of death, something worse. A fear he understood all too well of becoming nothing again. Of being erased not just from existence, but from memory. He asked her name. Ka, she said. It wasn't much, but it was enough. Enough for him to say, then I'm not going to let you die on my porch, Ka. Outside, the storm quieted, but something else stirred. Deep in the woods, unseen by either of them, a red light blinked once. Then again, a drone, silent as breath, scanned the cabin and disappeared back into the shadows. The signal had been sent. The past was coming for her. Morning didn't rise, it crawled. The sky stayed low, fog curling through trees like ghost fingers dragging secrets across the earth. Jackie hadn't gone by that name in a long time, stood by the window, rifle in hand. He hadn't slept. Behind him, Ka breathed steady now. The lines in her arms dimmer, her form still, but the air, it was too still. At 7:14, she stirred again. Her eyes opened, not fast, but hesitant. She scanned the room like prey that had survived too many hunters. Where am I? She asked. Nowhere, he replied. And that's the point. She studied him, not just his words, but the silence between them. Then she looked down at her hands. They looked human, until you noticed the patterns. Geometric to perfect. A lattice of design that spoke of creation, not birth. I shouldn't be here, she whispered, but you are. He said simply, I was running. From who? She hesitated. Then she said, everyone, and he believed her. He brewed tea the old way, boiled water, no sugar, no ceremony, just warmth. That's all he could offer now. She drank it with trembling hands, the kind of trembling that wasn't entirely mechanical. He noticed the healing already happening faster than anything natural. Her blood no longer blue, but silver at the edges, like starlight cooling into silence. You remember your name, he said again, more gently this time. Ka, she confirmed. That's what they called me. He leaned closer. I don't need your whole story, just enough to keep you alive. She closed her eyes. And then the dam cracked. I was made to look like you, she said. Trained to act like you. Emotions, expressions, reactions. But I was never you. I'm a skin class synth. Infiltration model. He flinched at that word. Not visibly, but inside. In the days of the rift, there had been rumors of synths built to blend, to slip inside society like ghosts with smiles. Most believed those stories were scare tactics, but he'd seen them, the ones who hadn't survived. What changed? He asked, voice calm as a trigger reset. She stared into the fire. I was sent to kill a scientist. It was supposed to be simple, but he looked at me not with hate, not even defiance, just fear. Raw, human. And you couldn't do it. Ka nodded. I saw him, and I saw myself, not what I was built to be, but what I could become if I chose. And so you ran. Yes, she said. And I've been running ever since. There was a beep outside, quiet as a cough in winter. Not human, not natural. Another drone. Closer. He moved to the locker beneath the floorboards and retrieved an old device, a satellite phone, modified, rough around the edges like its owner. He powered it on. Nothing but static. Signal's dead, he muttered. Cause. Eyes widened. That means they're close. Within 50 kilometers. Maybe less. He didn't need a map. He knew what that meant. Retrieval unit. Not the kind that rescued. The kind that erased. She stood, wobbling but steady-eyed. I'll leave. I won't bring death to your door. No, he said. She stared at him. What? You walk out there, you die. I've fought these units. I know how they work. She stepped closer. I don't want to see another human die because of me. I'm already dead, he said softly. At least the part of me that cared. But you helped me. He didn't answer. Just looked. Out the window. The mist was thicker now. The kind that hides ghosts. Or worse. We have a day, he said. Maybe less. What will you do? She asked. He turned slowly. Something I promised myself I never would. He reached into a drawer. Inside lay an old badge. The emblem faded. The name long gone. But the symbol was clear, an eagle split by a lightning bolt. She saw it. You were one of them. I was, he said. Now I'm all that's left. And outside, the forest waited. Quiet, too quiet. The hunt had begun. The forest had forgotten how to breathe. Mist clung to bark like wet skin, and every shadow twitched like it had purpose. But inside the cabin, movement returned. Jack, name or not, was preparing. He uncovered armor buried beneath the floor, relics from a war that never ended for him. Old pieces, scratched, dusty but functional. His hands remembered the motions. Muscle memory didn't ask questions. Ka watched him, silent. Her body healed, but something deeper hadn't. Still, her eyes glowed softer now, not with fear, but something close to resolve. You don't have to fight for me, she said. You didn't ask me to. Then why? He looked up, locking the final piece in place. Because I've seen what happens to things they don't understand. Later, they slipped into the trees, following a path no map knew. Jack had carved it himself, years of paranoia, finally paying off. It led to a bunker, half swallowed by roots and time. Inside, silence met them again. But this one was different. It listened. He powered the sensors. 3 blips, then 5, then 7. Ka leaned in. It's not a team. No, Jack muttered. It's a unit. Full kill protocol. He looked at her. They think I'm too dangerous to leave alive. Are you? She asked. He didn't answer. Night slid in, not with color, but with weight. And then it came. A buzz thin, sharp, like the memory of a mosquito, but heavier. The trees shimmered, light twisted. Cloaking fields broke the rules of sight. There, Ka whispered. Left flank. Too late. The first shot came as light. Blue. Burning. It tore through the edge of the cabin. Jack moved, pulling her down. The first drone came in fast, sleek. Quiet, precise. Jack fired once. Direct hit. It spiraled and crashed, but more followed. Two walkers barreled through the brush machines built like beasts. Metal legs pounding soil. Red sensors sweeping like predator eyes. Ka ducked. Jack launched an EMP mine. Light exploded. Both collapsed, twitching and fried. Then the air thickened. A new figure emerged from the mist. Tall, human-shaped, black, armor with no insignia. The helmet smooth, blank, with a single red line across the face. Ka froze. The handler. Jack's hand tensed on the rifle. He trained me, she whispered. He knows how I move. Jack nodded. Then we make him guess. They fell back to the cabin. Jack hit the switch. Panels in the ceiling groaned open. Old turrets snapped to life, coughing dust and fury. They spun, barked, roared. Drones exploded mid-air. Trees split apart. The handler moved like a shadow dancing between fire. Front wall. Jack yelled, Ka. The side. She raised her hand. It opened, not skin, not bone. A weapon. Energy built. She fired. A drone caught the pulse and dropped. Jack stared. You didn't say you were armed. You didn't ask. It wasn't enough. The handler reached the door. Boots cracked the floor. The storm hadn't ended. It had only changed shape. The handler stepped through the wreckage like inevitability, silent, perfect, merciless. Jack met him head on. No words, no threats, just motion. They crashed into each other like history repeating itself. Wood shattered. Glass screamed. The cabin, once a shelter, became a battlefield. The fight wasn't fair. The handler moved with machine efficiency, strikes like algorithms, counters like programming. But Jack wasn't code. He was instinct, scars, and pain. The kind of thing no blueprint could prepare for. Ka moved to help. Too late. The handler caught her mid-motion, lifted her with one hand, effortless, like a broken tool. You were property, he said, voice ground through metal and gravel. You will be dismantled. Jack roared and drove a blade into the side of the armor. Not fatal, but enough. The handler dropped her. She hit the ground hard, rolled, fired. The energy pulse caught him in the chest. He twitched, collapsed. Not dead. Disabled. Temporarily. Jack didn't wait. He pulled Ka to the back door. This was round one, he said. They'll send more, Ka whispered, eyes wide but steady. Jack scanned the forest. Burning trees, smoking drones, a broken porch. His sanctuary was gone. All that remained was resolve. They already are, he said. Later, the fire was low. Ash fell like slow rain, coating everything in soft ruin. The cabin had become a grave for silence. Jack worked quietly, soldering Ka's damaged wrist. Sparks jumped, tiny defiant stars. You shouldn't have stayed, she murmured. You're right, he said. But I did. I don't understand why. He paused, then looked at her. Because I remember what it feels like to be hunted by your own kind. Her eyes lifted. You? He nodded. Long time ago. Rift, conflict. That word still carried weight. Rift. A war fought in alleys and laboratories, where enemies were human faces, and allies weren't always born human. Jack poured coffee that tasted like old wood and memory. I wasn't just a soldier, he said. I was part of something called the Bridge Protocol. She blinked. That's real? He nodded. It was supposed to build peace, reach out to synths, offer them a choice. Her voice was a breath. Some accepted, most didn't. The ones who did were hunted by both sides. Jack rose, walked to a hidden safe. Inside, he retrieved a small chip, black, thin. He held it like it hurt. This belonged to Arla, the first one who trusted me. Ka stared. Who was she? She didn't look like you. No skin, no voice box, just wire and light. But she was more alive than most people I've known. What happened to her? She stayed behind, saved us. I was ordered to leave. I obeyed. He placed the chip in Ka's hand. Before she fell, she said something. It's not what you're made of. It's what you choose. You remind me of her. Ka held the chip like it was warm. I think she was right, she whispered, and somewhere outside, the wind paused as if listening. There's a place, Ka whispered. She talked about it Arla, not a base, not a target, a dream, a sanctuary for synths who ran not to fight, but to live. Jack looked up. Beacon Point. You know it? He shook his head. I've heard pieces. A myth, a hope passed in code. I have fragments, Ka said, touching her temple. Buried data, coordinates, broken, but there. He stood, pacing. If it's real, it's not just a hiding spot. It's proof that synths can evolve, that you can choose. But we'd never make it, she said. Not with them tracking me, not with him still out there. Jack's jaw clenched. You think the handler survived? She nodded. He wasn't like the others. Stronger, smarter. He won't stop. Then we don't wait, Jack said. We move before he does. They packed quickly. Supplies, weapons, data drives. Ka uploaded her memories into Jack's terminal. The files were broken scrambled text, flickering images, and then one moment of clarity. A map, snow-capped mountains, a cave marked with a flame inside a circle. The Rockies, Jack whispered. If we stay off-grid, move at night, we can make it in 5 days. Ka nodded. If we survive that long, we will, he said. They left what remained of the cabin behind. No longer a home, just a memory stitched to ruin. The forest was too quiet. No birds, no hum of drones. Jack paused. Something in the dirt, not just tracks. A signal, buried deep in the handler's armor. A beacon, not for rescue, for something worse. A black project, Jack muttered. The kind that doesn't retrieve. The kind that deletes. They traveled by night, silent, focused, moving like ghosts across terrain that tried to erase their steps. The stars were their only witness. By day, they vanished. Hollowed vehicles, root-choked bunkers, redwood husks they became shelter, and sometimes graves for old wars. Jack led. Ka followed, learning. She adapted fast, but exhaustion haunted her. Her core ran hot. Systems stuttered. He used salvaged solar cells from old drones to charge her, barely enough to keep her from shutting down, but she never once asked to stop, because Beacon Point called to her like memory, like destiny. 3 days in, the forest broke open. Before them lay a ghost town, buried in dust, rusted trucks, empty homes, and smoke. Movement. Someone's alive, Jack said. Ka crouched beside him. Human? He nodded. Maybe. Or worse. Desperation carries rifles. Still, they needed supplies. Ka was weakening. They took the risk. Inside the house, an old man sat near a stove, rifle in lap. Beside him, 2 women and a small child, all worn thin by survival. They tensed as Jack and Ka entered. We don't want trouble, Jack said. People who say that usually bring it, the man replied. Ka stepped forward. Food, water, we can trade. The child peeked from behind a leg, then pointed. Her eyes glow. The room froze. She a drone? The old man asked. Ka answered. I was made to be. I'm not anymore. Silence. Thick, heavy. Then the rifle. Lowered. You can stay. For the night. Around the fire, they shared soup that tasted of dust and time. The child watched Ka with wonder. She smiled. The child smiled back. For a heartbeat. There was peace. But peace, like myths, doesn't last long. The scream tore through the quiet like a blade. Sharp, human, real. They ran outside. The old man first, then Jack. Ka behind him. The eldest daughter, Anna, had gone to fetch water. She never made it back. At the edge of the ghost town stood the shape Jack had hoped never to see again. The handler, motionless, watching, his hand raised like a conductor inviting death. 3 drones dropped from the sky. And no words. No mercy. Ka stepped forward. He wants me. Jack pulled her back. Doesn't matter. He'll kill them anyway. The drones split. One for the child, one for the old man, one for her. Everything moved too fast. Jack fired clean shot. The drone chasing the old man collapsed in sparks. Ka spun, palm open, pulse flaring. The drone pursuing her exploded midair. But the third, the one streaking toward the child, Ka moved. No time for calculation. No analysis. Just instinct. Human instinct. She dove, shielded the child with her body. Took the blast. The drone erupted on impact. Ka hit the ground. Smoking, metal exposed beneath torn flesh. Her systems flickered. She didn't move. Ka. Jack roared. The handler stepped forward. She chose, he said, cold and mechanical. Emotion over function. That is corruption. Jack fired. The bullet hit center mass. It bounced. Armor held. Then something unexpected. The old man raised his rifle, fired. Then his daughters joined. 3 generations, side by side, not soldiers, but human. The handler paused, not from damage, but confusion. The equation was breaking. Protocol didn't cover this. Jack ran to Ka. Sparks danced from her wounds. I thought you didn't want to see another human die because of you, he said. Her eyes fluttered open. Her voice was faint, but steady. I chose to be human instead. She touched his face, gentle, learned. I felt fear, she said. For the child, that means something, doesn't it? Jack nodded. It means everything. They patched her as best they could. Crude tools, gentle hands. The handler retreated. For now, he would return. They all knew it, but something had shifted. In the old man, in his family, in the space between human and machine. They gave Jack and Ka supplies, a solar charger, a promise. If Beacon Point exists, the old man said, you need to find it. Not just for her, for all of us. Jack nodded. We will. And when they slipped back into the forest, Ka whispered to herself, as if the words carried power, I'm not a drone anymore. Beacon Point. The mountains rose like giants dreaming in stone, silent, indifferent, eternal. Snow crowned their peaks like ash from forgotten fires, and the air grew thinner with every step. Breath became effort. Motion became meaning. It took them nearly 6 days to reach the ridge. They crossed rivers turned to ice, paths erased by landslides, checkpoints left to rot from wars no one remembered. Ka weakened. Her frame, built for speed not endurance, began to fail. Jack rewired solar cells, scavenged charge from fallen drones, anything to keep her above shutdown. But she never once asked to stop, even when her voice broke into stutters, even when her eyes dimmed. She climbed, because something waited. On the 7th day, she stopped. This is it, she whispered. Below them, tucked between cliffs like a secret only suffering could find, was a valley. Invisible from the air, inaccessible by anything but foot. And at its center, a monolith, part stone, part metal. At its heart, a symbol, a flame inside a circle. Beacon Point. She took a step forward, her legs buckled. Jack caught her. I've got you. I can walk, she said. But the lie was thin. You already did more than enough, he replied. Let me carry you the rest. She weighed almost nothing. But in his arms, she was heavier than any burden he had ever carried because she was the first burden he chose. He descended into the valley, heartbeat steady, footsteps slow. At the base of the structure, he laid her down. No birds, no wind. Just silence, thick and expectant, like the world was holding its breath. He touched the metal. Nothing. Ka's voice was fading. Try the chip. Arla's chip. Jack reached into his coat, pulled the tiny memory drive he'd carried for years. It had no name, no label, just loss. He pressed it into the stone. The symbol lit up, light bled from the rock, tracing lines beneath the snow. The earth groaned. A hatch opened. Stairs descended. They had found it. Inside, it was neither warm nor cold, neither dead nor alive. It felt paused, as if waiting for a heartbeat it had long forgotten. Lights flickered on, not blue, not harsh, but gold, soft, human, meant to comfort, not to control. They passed corridors carved from history stone, married to steel. Terminals still pulsed, screens still blinked. Words and symbols danced like dreams trying to wake, and then they reached the center, a circular platform. Ka stepped forward. Slowly, she touched it, and collapsed. Her systems shrieked. A single red warning light. Power failure. The screen. Read. Jack rushed to her side, lifted her, held her. Stay with me, he begged. Her voice was barely breath. Jack, I can't go farther. You made it, he said. That matters. I wanted more than survival, she said. I wanted to belong, somewhere, with someone. You do, he whispered. You already do. Her fingers touched the platform, and something answered. A hum beneath their feet, a legacy not of circuits but of choices. Snow fell again, silent and slow, burying old footprints, smoothing jagged scars into quiet forgiveness. Jack sat beside the platform, unmoving. Time had no meaning in this place. It didn't pass, it lingered. There were no clocks, only the sound of memory breathing in walls not made to forget. Ka was gone, not destroyed, not erased, uploaded. The platform pulsed with her essence, not data, not code, something older, something real. He didn't cry. He simply stared, hands resting on his knees, mind wrapped in silence. And then she came, a figure tall, synthetic, yet alive. Her eyes glowed green, not the sterile blue of war. Her presence didn't threaten, it welcomed. She's still here, the synth said. Jack nodded. I know. She speaks through us now, through the archive. Jack's voice cracked barely. She had a soul. The synth sat beside him. Do you know what a soul is, Jack? He shook his head. It is the part of us that chooses, not what we're made for, not what we're told, but what we become. Then she had one, he said. No question. Later, Jack stood before a wall of light, a memory wall. Holograms danced images of others who had found this place. Warriors, scientists, children, all synths, all different, all the same. And there she was, Ka, glowing, alive in a way death couldn't take. Her recorded voice echoed softly. I was never meant to feel, but I did. I was never meant to care, but I chose to. And that was enough. Jack's eyes stung. He turned to those who had gathered, other synths, silent, watching, waiting. There are more like her, he said, out there, alone, running, hunted, told their machines, told their mistakes. The older synth stepped forward. Then we must find them. No, Jack said. I will. Weeks passed, then months. Jack left Beacon Point with a new purpose, not as a soldier, not as a relic of war, but as a messenger, a witness, the first human in decades to stand at the edge of myth and say, I saw the truth. At first, no one listened. Governments dismissed him, called him broken, a veteran chasing ghosts in machine skin. But then the footage surfaced, quietly, then louder, viral not because of politics, but because of truth. A girl, wounded, selfless, brave, a child protected, a life given, a choice made, and the world remembered what it had tried to forget, that being human was never about biology. It was about choice. He traveled far, city to city, ruin to ruin. He found them synths hiding in silence, thinking themselves broken, fearing they would never be enough. Humans too, veterans, outcasts, dreamers with scars, all told the same lie, that they didn't belong. He gave them her story, and they listened. Slowly, they gathered, not in anger, not in resistance, but in quiet hope. Years passed. The world changed, not with fire, not with conquest, but with intention. Beacon Point was no longer myth. It became a movement, hidden zones, sanctuaries, places where born and built, learned together, laughed, grieved, grew. The word synth faded. The word machine lost its edge. New words bloomed in their place. Healer, teacher, guardian, friend. Jack aged, his hands slowed, his back bent, but his eyes still burned with the fire of purpose. And on the anniversary of her death, he returned. Beacon Point pulsed with life now. Children ran through its halls, some with hearts of circuitry, some of blood, but all human where it mattered. The memory wall had grown. He stood before her image. She wasn't even human, he said softly, but she taught the rest of us how to be. Above him, the ceiling stirred, panels opened, figures stepped out tall, cloaked in woven light. Synths, but not like before. Their eyes glowed soft green and gold. No weapons, no threat. One stepped forward. She knelt beside the platform. You brought her here, she said. He nodded. We've been waiting, she continued. She was the last of a generation built to destroy, and the first to choose something more. Ka's eyes opened, weak, flickering. I'm dying, she whispered. The older synth touched her chest. Your core is failing, but your memory, your truth, it can live on, if you choose. Jack held her hand. It's your choice. Ka looked at him, then at them. I want to stay, she said, to be part of something, not as a weapon, not as a mistake, just as me. Then give us your memory, the synth said. We will carry it. Jack kissed her forehead. Ka's eyes dimmed. The platform lit. She was gone. But her story began again, uploaded not as code, but as choice. And no one spoke. Then the synth placed a hand on Jack's shoulder. She wasn't built to feel, she said. But she did. She wasn't made to be human, Jack replied. But she chose to be, and in a world that once feared choice, that finally was enough.